Hi guys, and welcome to my 74th video. Thank you so much for joining me if you are a return subscriber, or hello if you are new. My name's Adrina, I'm an Australian teacher and mum, currently on a break at the moment, trying to figure out this whole teacherpreneur online space, selling my teaching resources and clip art on Teachers Pay Teachers and online. Now today's video is a bit of a TPT update, and we're going to be talking about some things that have happened in the last few weeks that are big in TPT land. So to get this started, I'm just going to go over a few updates that TPT have emailed to let us know. So if you have not checked your emails recently, then this video should keep you up to speed with kind of the new updates that are happening on TPT. Now the most recent update is Teachers Pay Teachers is now on TikTok. So if you are someone that watches TikTok, that it might be helpful to go and follow them, because they probably will release some cool tips and tricks about TPT or just some new updates. And also TPT has a free TikTok course that you can go and complete if you are a seller, as far as I believe. So that course is free and I'm going to be doing it myself. So if you are thinking of using TikTok in the future for a marketing strategy, or just to kind of promote your products or to build brand awareness, then maybe completing that free course might be something that you're interested in. Now I know that a lot of the younger generation are more on TikTok, but there are more and more of different age levels getting onto TikTok. Now TikTok, for me personally, I'm not really in that world completely yet. I do watch TikToks from time to time, but what I do find for myself personally is I'm a YouTube girl. I like sitting down and watching like a pretty long detailed video. Like the short form stuff is okay, but what I find with myself personally is I just keep on scrolling and 2 hours has passed and I'm like, what just happened? So I eventually will say I do want to be on TikTok for my branding stuff. Eventually I want to be putting some of my stuff for content marketing or like brand awareness on TikTok, but right now that is not where I'm at. But I just thought for anyone that is interested in the whole TikTok thing, that they do have a free course on TPT that you can go and complete, and that Teachers Pay Teachers is now on TikTok, so you can go follow them if you like. So second of all, TPT has emailed to share with us that they are in the beta phase of testing private messaging with buyers. So this is really good news, because I think for a lot of the older sellers too, sellers that have been on the platform for quite a while, this feature has been something that they probably would have really benefited from. So if you've ever shopped from TPT or you have your own account as a seller, you'll know at the moment usually people, if there's an issue with the purchase or whatever, people will usually go to your store and go to the Q&A section, and they will leave a question saying something like, hey, I can't access my download, can you help? Us as the sellers, we will usually either direct them to TPT support, or what we will do is we'll say, please email me on this email, and then from that they will email us on that email, and then we kind of sort out their issues from there, whether that be sending them the file that they've bought but they can't access, or whatever the case is. Usually that's the way that we have to do it. So this feature that they're in beta phase for is exciting, because I know that as a buyer that can be really helpful if there is a direct line of communication all within the platform, so it's not lost within emails. And as creators, as sellers, you know, we get emails all the time, so we could easily miss that email from someone that is requiring help if they don't reach out to TPT support and they've gone to us directly. We get a lot of emails in our day-to-day lives, so having that direct link would be really beneficial. So I'm really glad actually that they're working on that. And I will say, I know that Etsy has a direct message with their buyers, and I feel like that's quite successful, because personally I've actually used it myself. I bought, actually is my wallpaper in the background, I bought that off Etsy, and what I found was when I first downloaded it, it was really blurry, and so I emailed the seller and I said, can I please get it resized for my actual computer size, because in the download they said on the rare occasion that it needs to be resized to fit your computer, then please message me. And so I did that through Etsy, and the seller responded so quickly and so promptly, and it was just a really good experience to be able to access my downloads. So I'm really hoping that that works well for them in the beta phasing, because I think that would be a feature that would be really beneficial for both buyers and sellers. So I'm excited to say that that is something that they are working on in the background at the moment. So that's good news. Thirdly, it's not really an update, but I thought I would just mention it here because it is coming up, not quite yet, but I think this is a good time to just start thinking about whether you want to go to the TPT conference or not. So you may or may not know, but basically every year Teachers Pay Teachers, or TPT, hosts a conference. And they do a live version, and now they do offer a virtual version. They have offered a virtual version for a few years now. But with the live version, it will be held in Boston, and it will be held from July 11th to the 13th. Now, the price of that, I believe, is $249 US, and it did say that that price is going to change on May 1st. So I thought I'd include it in this update video just in case you were thinking of going, and whether and when you should book your tickets, because on May 1st I think they changed that price to a higher price. So if you are going to go in person, be better to get it before that May 1st price increase. Now, if you are like me and are going to be attending virtually, then the ticket price still stays the same, just $79 US. And for us, that comes to, I think, like $100 and something. And if you are going, I know for me at least, I'm going to try and book a little bit earlier than I did last year. Last year I tried to book what I thought was earlier, but still my merch didn't come. So the t-shirt that you usually get with the conference as the merch didn't come until like towards the very end of the conference period. So this year, if I choose to go, I am going to want to book it a little bit earlier than I would usually. Now, if you follow my YouTube channel, I'm sure you also follow Becca Davis's. She talks about all things TPT. She is also going to be presenting at the conference this year. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm really proud of her. She's done so well over the last few years. I've basically been following her since her early days. I remember subscribing when she only had like 500 subscribers, so she's really built up her way, and she's now presenting at the conference, so well done to her. That's nice to see. And I have seen on the presenter list, which I'll hopefully be able to put here on screen so you can have a little look, but I have seen some more brand new faces that I haven't seen before in the last couple of conferences, as well as a few familiar faces that I also saw last year. But with these new faces, it'll be exciting to see what they bring to the table and to see how they're going to offer kind of their insights into their TPT business and how to grow and how to level up. And I think that's just one of the biggest things when you are starting out. You kind of really want to figure out the key ingredients that you need to kind of know or have, or just new things that are going to be more helpful to you in your business when you do start something like a TPT business. So going to this conference, if you are new, it is beneficial. Like for me, the first few years I did learn a lot. It was really hard because when I first did it, I had a young little baby that was still breastfeeding, so I would try and like breastfeed him and try and do the sessions. I didn't get through all of them, but I had just had to kind of be more strategic with the ones I really wanted to watch. I'll be watching Becca's one because I know that she does provide value in a lot of her videos. She provides so much free value on YouTube already, so I'm sure that she will make the effort for that in her conference video. And the title of her presentation is How to Make Content That Sells Your Resources. So I think that will be a good one to watch. So with that said, now let's get into the juicy details of what's actually been going on behind the scenes in TBT land. Now, I know so far that 2 YouTubers have spoken out about this new change. Becca Davis and The Angry Teacher, they made videos basically on what I'm about to talk about. But if you don't know, I'm sure you do already if you watch any of those channels, but if you don't know, basically what has happened, and it's been pretty big news in the TPT community, is TPT has been acquired by another company, and that company is IXL. So with this change, that means that there's going to be a new CEO of TPT, and with new leadership comes new things. So it's going to be very interesting because I remember months ago, actually I'm pretty sure it was last year, we know if you're in the TPT community, there have been so many changes within the last 6 to 8 months on TPT. I literally remember, I think it was last year, reading one comment. I'm sorry I can't reference who it was, but I remember reading this comment, and it was like, usually, because this is at the time where TPT was going through the whole brand refresh, they changed their logo, I'm pretty sure it was in December, and just like with the whole look of TPT and the brand refreshing, I remember reading this one comment, and it was like, usually when companies go through a whole rebranding process, they're looking at being acquired by another company. And that was kind of like the rumors that were on TPT. Some people were like, nah, I don't think that's the case. I think they're just trying to, you know. And other people were like, no, I think that could be legit. So it's very interesting now to look back in hindsight. We're now in March 2023 to look back and think, wow, well, some of those rumors or things on the grapevine are now coming to fruition. Like TPT has now been acquired and brought out basically by IXL. Now, I had never heard of IXL before. I've never heard of the company, so I did a little bit of digging. So I do want to take you over to my computer in a moment, just so I can share with you guys kind of what I found, and just so you can kind of get a better picture of who's actually acquired TPT. Now, I only started my TPT journey in 2020, so at that point, Joe Holland was the CEO, and now we're in 2023, and now Paul Michigan is going to now take over from his role to be CEO of TPT. So let me take you over to my computer, kind of just show you the press release of what IXL has released and TPT, and just a little bit about what I found about IXL, because I didn't know too much about it, so I thought I'd share my findings with you guys. So let's go and have a look at that. Okay, so we're here on my computer. Today is Friday the 17th of March. Now, I do want to just apologize very quickly if you hear birds in the background. Like I said, I live in Australia and we have lots of rainbow lorikeets in the backyard, and just random birds that just kind of like to sing songs, and you hear them in the background. So they are really nice to listen to, but at the same time, sometimes they can be a bit annoying. So I just want to apologize about that. But let's get into kind of my findings. So when I was looking into IXL, let's just have a look at the press release first. So this is IXL's press release from their website, and so basically it just says here, IXL Learning acquires Teachers Pay Teachers, the world's largest platform for educator created content. So the acquisition of Teachers Pay Teachers expands IXL Learning's ability to connect educators with relevant and engaging learning materials that help PK to 12 students succeed academically. So you can see that it happened on March 2nd, 2023. IXL Learning, developer of personalized learning products used by millions of people globally, announced that it has acquired TPT, otherwise known as Teachers Pay Teachers, as we know we went through that name change in December, which offers the world's largest catalogue of educator-created content and tools for digital instruction. More than 7 million educators, including 85% of PK to 12 teachers in the US, use the platform to find teacher-created resources that help them support students and benefit from the expertise of fellow educators. So you can see here, if you look down below, Teachers Pay Teachers is the newest member of the IXL Learning family of world-renowned brands, which include Rosetta Stone, IXL, Vocabulary.com, SpanishDictionary.com, Ingles.com, ABC, Education.com, Wisent, and Immersion. So it kind of just goes into a little bit of background. As you may or may not know, but basically in 2006, a New York City public school teacher named Paul Edelman, he was the one that initially founded TPT. So it just kind of talks about him a little bit, and then just kind of what is going on. And then we have a few statements from the new CEO, Paul, and from the previous CEO, Joe Holland. So here he says, we are so happy to welcome Teachers Pay Teachers into the IXL Learning family. TPT is an iconic brand in education, and it offers a unique opportunity for teachers to learn from each other and become entrepreneurs. And that is true. TPT does have that brand authority over majority of other platforms. However, I do feel like there are some other brands that are slowly climbing the ranks as well, with kind of what has happened recently. With that said though, he also says, we look forward to redoubling TPT's efforts toward building a special home for educators centered around expertise, trust, and a deep devotion to learners' success. So that's encouraging. Redoubling TPT's efforts, so that's interesting. So they're going to be putting a lot more effort into it. Is that what they're saying? And then so basically Joe, who was the CEO, has said, IXL Learning has built an incredible mission-driven business, and we are thrilled for TPT to join the IXL Learning family. He said, I'm so proud of how Team TPT partnering with teacher authors around the world has enriched the lives of millions of educators. By joining TPT and IXL Learning, we will multiply what we can deliver for teachers in years to come. So, and then it just kind of has a little bit extra about both of their platforms. Now, what I wanted to really highlight was I wanted to kind of just break down what is IXL and what is their story. So, before we do that, I do want to show you this as the leadership team, so you kind of get an idea. So this is currently Joe Holland. He is head of team, well, was head of team CEO, and I've never seen this page before, but I found it recently. And this is leadership here, and if you go down, it actually also tells you who the investors of TPT are. So we've got Tiger Global, True Ventures, and Spectrum Equity. So there, I haven't looked into too much detail with any of these investors, but it's interesting if you are kind of wanting to know about the background of the investors, you could have a look through them. I'll have to look at them some other time because that will be kind of interesting to know as well. But right now it's just about IXL and the takeover and what's kind of going to happen. So when I looked at IXL, I found it quite interesting because if you look at their story, so it says IXL was founded in 1998 when we released Queer Web. I'm sorry if I said that incorrectly. I've never used this site before. Queer Web. The first website that allowed teachers and learners to create and share customized study materials. Now just remember, TPT was not founded until 2006, so IXL has been prior to TPT. So you can see here, the initial version features 3 formats, a matching game, a concentration game, and flashcards. So I really feel like for this time, that was pretty like ahead of its time, and I think that's why it probably did quite well, and it became quite popular in the early days of the internet, as they say. So since then, their mission basically has been to develop educational technologies that people can't live without if they only existed. The second product that they created was Queer Books, and this was a highly interactive online textbook and workbook platform created specifically for language learning. So it was released in 2001 at a time when ebooks mostly took the form of PDF readers. Queer Books supported immersive online workbook exercises with real-time feedback and an intelligent grading system, which I feel like in that time would have been really helpful. I just don't know what kind of training teachers would have had back then for those kind of things, but I think that could have been very futuristic back then. In 2001 though, they then decided to combine computer learning and traditional classroom teaching. So they actually made Queer Books, which allowed publishers to mix and match closed-ended computer scorable questions with open-ended questions that are gradable by students' actual teachers. So this was like a thing where the teachers, I guess, could create something or grade them online through their platform. And it also says here, to date, more than 450 secondary and higher education language textbooks have been published on the Queer Books platform. So that's really interesting to know, and they've got them ranging from Spanish to French to Chinese, Latin and Arabic. So that's really also quite fascinating. So then moving on into 2007, they turned their attention more towards maths. I wonder why they chose to do that, but interesting enough they did. In 2007, when we introduced IXL, a groundbreaking platform and curriculums. Okay, so now we're going from Queer Books. So for the first kind of 3 things, it was Queer, and then they changed it into what's now IXL. So a groundbreaking platform and curriculum for maths education as the world's most comprehensive maths practice program. So IXL covers more than 3,500 distinct math topics in a progression from preschool to year 12. All questions, even word problems, are algorithmically generated, meaning that every question is unique and students will never see repeated questions no matter how long they practice. So following the success of our maths launch, we expanded IXL to include English in 2013, offering unlimited targeted practice of grammar, spelling and vocabulary for teachers. IXL provides unparalleled insight into student performance through business style reports and data analysis tools, which I think would have been really helpful for those teachers that did use IXL. And I found it interesting to know that IXL is now used in more than 15,000 schools as well as at home by families worldwide. I feel like this could be quite popular in the family side of things. I think that would be, homeschooling and stuff like that could be very popular in that. But moving on, so after they had that, they did the they had IXL in maths, and then they expanded in 2013 to English. Then they acquired ABC, the creator of over 400 educational computer games and apps for children. So based in Providence, Rhode Island, ABC provides games and apps for students in preschool to year 6 that focus on maths and English, as well as topics such as science, computer skills, art, and holidays. Since 2004, ABC has reached over 122 million learners who have played more than 1.5 billion games. So you can see there's a common thread. It is all education that IXL has acquired, and it has been on that learning sphere. So they're sticking to similar things. It wasn't until really 2019 that IXL then branched out and they acquired education.com. And interesting enough, this is probably the most similar thing to what TPT is actually now. So education.com offers 30,000 digital and printable learning resources, including worksheets, online games, hands-on activities, lesson plans, and more for preschool through 7th grade. Now, I looked at this website and I had never thought I had been on this site before until I realized, in my early days of teaching, I think I actually downloaded something free from this website, and I actually used it in my early days of teaching. It was a free thing. I don't know if you have to sign up for this. I don't know how this exactly works, but I'm pretty sure back in the day when I did get something from here, I'm pretty sure it was just a free worksheet when I was first starting out. Excuse the plane in the background, you guys. So they acquired that website in 2019, and moving on after that, the next year, 2020, they then acquired vocabulary.com, which I'd never heard of either, but they joined the family in 2020, and basically it delivers personalized instruction to close students' word gaps and prepare them for success in the classroom and beyond. So they have learnable words, engaging activities, and basically they try to make learning about words fun from what I can see. So this is the website, vocabulary.com. You can start by typing in a word, and it will kind of give you some definitions of what you're looking for, and then you can, I guess, try and find ways you can learn. And so this got a little vocab trainer area where you have to choose the right picture, and I don't really know exactly how this fully works. As I said, this is the first time I've kind of been on here, but you can kind of explore different things like the wide words of sport. So that's really interesting, just to make it, I guess, fun and engaging for students and anyone learning that kind of stuff. So that's really interesting. It looks like they've got kind of some books and stuff here as well. So they've acquired that as well in their portfolio. So now on top of all of these that they've now acquired, they have also got TPT under their belt. And they have actually, if you go to their website and you scroll down, you'll see that they have actually now listed that TPT as part of their portfolio of what IXL encompasses. So that's really interesting. One thing that I will say is with IXL acquiring TPT, I feel like it's really in alignment to what their whole mission has been through what they've acquired over the years. Because if you look at all of what they've acquired, they're not like two different fields. They're all within education. They're all within the digital online space from what I can see, majority of them. And they all offer like a way to learn through technology, and I guess also portably in a way, because you can access these from the comfort of your own home. That's really interesting. And like I said, when you think about it, with IXL's story, they started it in 1998. So like I said before, TPT wasn't founded by Paul Edelman until 2006. So IXL has really, been that early adapter to this kind of online space and that learning. TPT has grown so much, I guess, over the years because it has been, very teacher orientated. Like the concept behind TPT, whether you agree or not, I know some people have their 2 cents about it, but at its core, it's teachers helping teachers. And that is what I guess Paul Edelman had in his mind for his vision when he first started TPT. And now obviously as it grows, things are going to change. And with the acquisition of IXL taking over, it'll be really just interesting to kind of see where this truly is going to go and what changes are in the pipeline for TPT. So TPT has also released a statement about it all. That was a kind of like press release about it all. and I won't go too much into that, but basically it's similar to what they said on the press release in IXL. So I'm sure that they're going to update this soon, and so when you go to the homepage, you'll see the brands TPTs now also on this homepage section. And when I'm reflecting too back on this logo, because I did do the logo video, and so when I'm looking at this logo in regards to the combination throughout all the IXL companies, it is nice and modern and simple. And you can see with the majority of all the other ones, they're not overly complex, they're pretty simple, or they're just writing. So that does align to their, I guess, their overriding branding. And I wonder if that was possibly why TPT did go for that refresh before they were then acquired by IXL. I wonder if there was any discussions in the background about that. I'm not 100% sure. I won't know that. That's for the behind the scene people to know, but it's very interesting as a creator to kind of question those things and wonder. So anyways, I'm going to see you back in my talking head to finish out this video. Okay, so now we are back. I've shown you all the little things I've kind of learned a little bit about IXL, and so now I know a little bit more about the company and kind of who has acquired TPT. I think it's important. I think for me myself personally, when I first started my Teachers Pay Teachers journey, I didn't really know who was in the back end or what was kind of going on, so it wasn't as important. But as I've been on the platform for a few years now, and I have made revenue off this website, it becomes more important to me to know like who is in the back end controlling things. It becomes more important to me as a seller, as a creator, to what I'm doing, who I'm supporting, and just what is going on in business. So I just feel like knowing these things can kind of help us as creators kind of know the background a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes. And so with that, my thoughts on the whole matter of IXL acquiring TPT, at this point I'm feeling fairly optimistic, if I'm being completely honest, knowing that portfolio. I'm feeling optimistic, but I'm also going to remain neutral. Because of how much change has happened over the last 6 to 8 months, like change is inevitable. Change can be really good and change can be really bad, and change can be neutral. So I'm just hoping, I am a natural optimist. I am hoping when I think of IXL in a holistic way, I see someone, for example, I see Paul coming in with a lot of skills and knowledge he's developed since 1998. He was one of those people in the trenches in those early days, and now over the years has acquired different, things in the portfolio of IXL. And I really feel like he's going to come to TPT with a different perspective and a different knowledge base, but one that I feel like having to be a CEO of all those companies must be a really tough and hard job. And I feel like that's a lot to take on board when you are a CEO, just in general. And so I feel like I'm going to remain neutral, and I am going to remain optimistic and hopeful, because I feel like when someone comes in, we have to kind of at least give them a chance, because everyone's going to do things differently. One thing that has put my mind a little bit more at ease, if I'm being completely honest, is they did have a webinar. Now mind you, it wasn't the longest webinar, but I did watch it, and they did have the main question that I was more specifically worried about, and that was whether IXL has any plans to implement a subscription-based model for TPT. I know for myself, I was worried about that, because once the subscription-based thing comes into effect, I feel like a lot of sellers will not feel the right way about it, because it's like, as a company, I understand that that's probably more revenue for them, but when you're looking at it as the creators put their heart and soul into their creations, and they're not receiving that same amount of what they put in, it might become something where, it's like, I just feel like there's a lot of people would have a big say about it. I feel like that could be very taken the wrong way if they did end up going subscription based with TPT. I feel like for myself, like I know being a part of like even just Creative Fabrica, for example, as a clip artist on there, subscription based things means a different type of way someone can earn revenue and also, you know, support other people. I don't know how to really word this, but basically when you are in a subscription-based model, it's like a split share between creators where it's not always evenly dispersed as far as like, because we don't really know, at least for some experiences I have personally, like you don't technically know how many people have downloaded that thing or like where exactly your revenue came from. Whereas when you are in the model that TPT is in now, for example, where if someone purchases something off you, you know that TPT gets a commission, but you know how much commission you're going to get and you get the primary amount from that. That's why you pay the premium fee to get a little bit more revenue. And when this is something that, you know, people strive to eventually build up to, or even if it is just something that you want to earn a couple $100, like even just a few dollars from, like that can really play and take a toll if it's subscription based. So I think that's the biggest issue for me. And with the webinar, it was asked, does IXL have any plans to make it like subscription based, because, you know, IXL's some of their other learning platforms are subscription based. Paul did say that he doesn't have any plans at this point in time to change the structure of TPT. And I know for a lot of us creators, we'll probably be thinking, you know, if something's not exactly broke, then don't try and fix it and try and alter it to a way that it's just going to disturb something. Like if something is working well, it's a sign that it's working well. You know what I mean? There's sometimes tweaks and things need to be made, but when you know that it's going to affect a lot of different people and like a lot of uproar might come from something like this, you know, again, this is just my thoughts. I can't predict the future. I can't say not to do this something or do something. That's going to be totally within their control, but it will definitely be very interesting to see how people would react if it did go subscription based. I'm hoping that it's not, because as it stands, I think the way that TPT is structured is good. I think it aligns to people as creators, and it aligns to people who are wanting to support TPT in that, like, they get a commission from what we make. And if it is subscription based, I just think that is more going to go on the end of their bottom line being a business move, but not a move that is going to benefit them as community or as a strong kind of, I don't know. I just don't know what I'm trying to say here, but what I know is I feel like if it was subscription based, I think it could be very unwanted territory for a lot of creators who put their heart and soul into creating things, and I think a lot of creators will probably have to branch off because of that, if they were to change that. So hopefully this is just my own perspective, but hopefully Paul does like have a look at TPT as a whole, see what is working, see what's not, see from actual sellers and creatives what we feel like is going to be beneficial. Because at the end of the day, like when you are in the trenches, like even for example, just relating to teachers, when you're a teacher on the ground floor teaching day in, day out, you know what your students need. Sometimes the higher directives will come up with an idea like this will be good, and then the teachers look at that as the directive and think, no, this is not going to work for the students that we have, or it's not going to work very well. And they have to push out something that is not either in alignment or just not even age appropriate or just anything like that. And it's just like, if they truly knew what was going on in the ground level, instead of just doing a tick and flick of boxes to, you know, meet certain numbers or whatever, like that would be more beneficial to really getting the people on the ground level who are in it, opinions, their thoughts heard, rather than just making a business decision based off what they think is going to be good, if that makes sense. I don't know, everyone conducts business differently. I'm just a girl from Australia, just having my 2 cents here, but let me know, please, down below, leave a comment what you think about this new change. Do you think that it's a good change? Do you think it's a bad change? Are you neutral about it? Like I said, I'm pretty neutral. I'm optimistic because I feel like Paul can bring a lot to TPT based off his experience and knowledge, and having his portfolio be in alignment to learning and education and supporting students. I feel like that is a plus in my eyes. That's much more of a plus than someone that being completely irrelevant acquiring TPT. Like that would be just shocking, more shocking, you know what I mean? So if someone that was just like so irrelevant to TPT, didn't even have anything in the learning game, was to acquire TPT, that would be much more scary. But because Paul is coming, like I said, being the CEO of IXL, he's got a lot of knowledge under his belt that I feel like only time will tell how he kind of uses that leadership to lead TPT and to see if he can really fire start and get TPT going to a good spot. Like, not to say that they're not in a good spot now, but there have been many changes happening over this last 6 to 8 months, like I said, and you know, there have been some really interesting things that have happened and ways that things were conducted. So moving forward, I'm optimistic, I'm hopeful. That's all I can say right now. I'm neutral, but I'm optimistic as always, and I'm just going to try my best to adapt to the changes, and hopefully the changes to come are beneficial to both, you know, TPT and us as the creators and sellers. And I just hope everyone is able to win in the way that they're trying to grow and run TPT. I hope that's given you some food for thought, and I hope that you have an amazing day. Thank you for taking the time to watch this updated video, and I wish you health, wealth and happiness in your Teachers Pay Teachers journey and in life, and I will see you in another video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, because like I said, I'm very interested to see what you have to say. Alright, adios!